I want to introduce my panel tonight. Luke Lipinski here on my far left from 98.7 FM Arizona Sports Station. Thanks, Luke, for being here.
For sure.
Greg Moore, you've been with us each game so far from azcentral.com and the Arizona Republic. And new tonight as well is Ashley Neville from SB Nation. Thanks for being here, Ashley.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it. Topic number one, you guys, and I'll start with you, Greg. Kawhi Leonard. Unbelievable.
Amazing.
Right?
No points in the second quarter, comes right out in the third, hits a couple of threes. He's a totally different guy. What do we know Kawhi Leonard for? Being athletic, running around, playing great defense. Now he's a spot-up shooter. It looks like he's hobbled. They've been kind of quiet about whether he's injured. But this guy matched everything Golden State had, put his team in position to win. He's just playing out of this world.
Ashley?
And I would also say the load management aspect to it, too, is not overplaying him, not playing him too many minutes, and being able to trust some of those other guys out there, which has really helped him get in rhythm. But he's like a fourth quarter guy. I mean, he's one of the superstar. You know, we're comparing the superstars to just, you know, those star players, and he has everything that it takes to be a superstar. 36 points.
Except he doesn't talk.
No, I mean, and he doesn't need to talk. You know, he's very quiet. I mean, you look at the box score, they're like 36 points, really? I mean, this guy. So he's just different. He's special, and I'm happy to see him thriving with the Raptors. You know.
Nope.
I mean, Ashley just said it. You don't even realize he puts up 36 points. He's hit 30 in every game so far this series. And tonight, for him to take over in the third quarter, which is when the Warriors usually take over games, I mean, that decided this game. And I don't want to say it decided the series, but all of a sudden Golden State's in a real tough spot we haven't seen them in.
We talk about topic two, too. I didn't want to cut you off, Greg, but I need to move forward. And that's Klay and Kevon coming back for the Warriors. Klay Thompson back out. Klay had a phenomenal night. Kevon Looney adding some discipline inside, I guess, and some points inside for them. What did you take away from that?
Well, listen, when Looney's on the floor, the Golden State Warriors defense looks different. Ashley and I were talking about this. If you watch the way Bogut challenges shooters, like a guy like Siakam drives in, he's long, he's athletic, he gets the ball out away from his body, he's going a finger roll toward the hoop. Well, Bogut challenges him body to body. DeMarcus kind of olays him. But Looney can get up with it, reach out with him, stretch out with him, and disturb that shot. So the defense looks completely different, which is why Golden State got out to that hot start. Toronto just withstood it.
Luke, what do you think?
I just think the simple fact that both of them came back for this game and Kevin Durant didn't, to me, makes me, I mean, maybe he comes back in Game 5, who knows, but I feel like if Golden State was holding out and thinking like, okay, we'll wait until we absolutely have to bring him back, tonight was the night. Now you're assuming even if you do bring him back, he's going to be great in his first game, and basically that you play good enough to essentially sweep Toronto the rest of the way. I don't know if we're going to see Kevin Durant.
And Ashley, I'm going to go to topic three, and that's the intangibles tonight. I'm going to start with you on the intangibles because you talked about this early on in the game tonight.
I did. So there's one thing that no one's really talking about that you cannot see on the box score here is the fact that the Raptors think that they can win this.
Yeah.
They think that they belong. They have the confidence to be here. And, you know, this isn't really this is their first rodeo this year, but they've made it this far. And we've seen them play throughout the season. They did well even when Kawhi wasn't playing, and now with him playing, they just have this chemistry about them, this camaraderie that you need to be able to win. And it's interesting now, we've seen the Warriors, you know, take a 3-1 lead.
That's right.
And lose it, and now the Raptors 3-1 lead. So, you know, I think though the intangibles, talking about the camaraderie, talking about just that will to win, and they're confident. They deserve to be here, they know they belong, and they can win this whole thing.
When she said that, I started watching everybody's body language. The Golden State fans were quiet.
Oh, yeah.
Mouths closed, eyes wide open. And then I got to thinking about Kevin Durant. Because poor Kevin Durant is watching Serge Ibaka light Golden State up, and he's thinking, where was this in Oklahoma City?
Wasn't there.
Nope.
Luke, and what do you think of the intangibles in this thing? I mean, clearly the momentum has shifted in favor of the Raptors, just not even the series lead, but just mentally.
Yeah, I mean, you would think, having not been here before, maybe they would start to slow down the closer they get to actually winning. They look better tonight. They just went into Golden State and won twice, and that might be the last game ever in Oracle Arena. And you look at what the Warriors have accomplished over the last 4 or 5 years, you would think if nothing else they would have won tonight, even if they were going to lose in 6. So for Toronto to go in there and look better, that's impressive.
Yeah, good job, you guys. Hey, we have lots more sports come up here, too, including my one-on-one with Suns GM James Jones. Well, welcome back to our panel here. Back with Luke Lipinski from 98.7 FM, Arizona Sports Station. Greg Moore, azcentral.com, and Arizona Republic, and Ashley Neville from SB Nation. Appreciate you guys. Topic number one in this one is Warriors investor Mark Stevens pushes Kyle Lowry after he goes for a loose ball during Game 3. He is now banned for games for a year and fined $500,000. Is that legitimate in your mind, Greg?
The only thing I think about when I think about this story is what must have been going through that man's mind that he thought he had the privilege to put his hands on another man who hadn't done anything to him. He reached over somebody and decided he's going to shove Kyle. And Lowry then has to show restraint. Lowry has to do something that's abnormal. If someone shoves you, your first instinct is going to be to shove back, and Lowry can't do that. And I just wonder why this man felt that he had the ability to do that to somebody else. It boggles my mind. I just can't get over it.
Luke, does the fine and the suspension, does that fit the crime here?
I mean, $500,000 sounds like a lot
Right.
until you realize he's worth $2.3 billion, and then that means he's still worth $2.3 billion, basically. Right. So I understand that on the surface, yeah, you're thinking, okay, $500,000 in a year, I guess, but I don't know what more you could really do, but it just sort of feels like he got away with it, other than the fact that Golden State may lose the series, but he had nothing to do with that.
Well, to my point that I had mentioned earlier is the fact that, like, let's say I'm making $100,000, you're making $50,000, and we both get a speeding ticket, we're both going to get the same penalty and the same fine. So if there's a standard for that, $500,000 and a ban or suspension, I feel like it doesn't matter how much this guy is making, it's fair. But again, to go to what Greg said is you should not be putting your hands on another guy, because if Kyle were to walk into his office and put his hands on him, he would have been arrested. So I think it just goes to show just the differences between what players are allowed to do and what spectators are allowed to do.
And one thing that's great to me about the NBA is the fans are right on top of the game.
Yeah.
I love that aspect. It's the only sport I can think of where fans sit right next to the court, right?
But I
in the
need
middle.
more respect, though, right?
that's
Because
the key.
we're seeing Russell Westbrook arguing with fans in Utah. This is something that I just wonder. You know, as a black man in America, I saw the picture and Kyle's pointing his finger and the investors kind of pulling back, and I thought that's horrible because it reinforces the stereotype of this big, bad, scary guy. And that's not what happened here. Kyle Lowry was the victim here, and then he ends up looking like the aggressor once you get these still images, and it's problematic for me. I just wonder what we can do about it, because that can't happen anymore.
Right. And how do you handle that, Luke? How do you deal with that?
It does feel like it's getting worse, and honestly, when that first happened, none of us knew who it was. We just thought it was a fan. And I thought that was bad enough at that point. And then when you see it's actually a partial owner of one of the teams involved, it's a bad look for the Warriors, certainly. It's a bad look for the NBA. But it happens. I mean, this is the only time it's ever really happened when you start to involve people that are actually like associated with the team. So I don't know. I mean, you sort of have to set a precedent that you're not going to allow it again.
Right.
But I don't think it's going to happen again.
And actually, one thing that Forbes came out with tonight is Mark Stevens stands to earn $180 million if they force him to sell his shares of the team.
So either way, it's a win-win situation for him, is it not? I mean, but if I'm him, I'm going to want to go to those games, though. You know, I'm going to want to sit courtside. I'm going to want to be near all the action. I'm going to want to be at those games next season, especially a team that you're investing so much time and money into.
Right.
So, I mean, I would be upset about it, but he's got to know how to control his actions on the sidelines. That's unacceptable.
Hey, I want to thank you guys for being here tonight. I appreciate all your input on this. I'm going to send it back to